Hey YouTube, it's ICU, and welcome to the 176th episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. Alright, now just getting right into the news. Yesterday on Friday, Apple slightly revised their homepage. They also created a new video and added some additional text pages for the exciting and 30th anniversary of Mac, which was first released in 1984. And on the left of the homepage, the original Mac is pictured with a very classic balloon on the screen, and over on the right, just next to it, is a brand new iMac with a picture of dozens of balloons in various colors. It's very symbolic, and it just shows how far we've come in computing since 1984. So I highly recommend checking out Apple's 30th anniversary Mac edition portion of their site. I'll also have a link to the video that they created, and just be sure to check out some of the content for their site specifically for this occasion. Alright, and I also wanted to point out that OS X isn't 30 years old. What is, however, is the Mac itself. So OS X was first released in its Server 1.0 format in 1999, followed by a desktop Mac OS X or version 10.0 Cheetah in 2001. And just thinking about it, in this past decade alone, not only have Macs come extremely far, but also new and exciting products like the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch were just announced, revealed, and released in less than the past 10 years. So it's just something to put it into perspective for you guys. Fast forward to the present though, and recently, this week, following the release of iOS 7.1 Beta 3 nearly 3 weeks ago, Apple seeded the fourth beta iteration of 7.1 to registered developers. So of course the latest 7.1 beta is available for download both through the company's iOS developer portal and as an over-the-air or OTA update for devices running a previous beta version. And as expected, the update was compiled with a slightly revised build number indicating minor changes and revisions. And although it's undeniable that 7.1 will bring improvements to iOS 7, the update won't necessarily be adopted by a vast number of iDevice owners, as it's inevitable that the finalized version of 7.1 will patch the Evasi0n Untethered Jailbreak, and I'll talk about that more in just a second. Although 7.1 Beta 4 seemingly offers less adjustments than previous iterations of the firmware, Apple is presumably focused on less noticeable bug corrections with the fourth beta. The only apparent UI or user interface correction that's reportedly been implemented in iOS 7.1 Beta 4 is an adjustment to the traditional slide to unlock text on the lock screen that makes it more noticeable. But with that said, if you're interested in the complete changelog, you'll be able to find that on a post on my site that I'll have linked to down below. Now on to jailbreaking and how 7.1 will affect it. Famed hacker iHateSnow unfortunately confirmed what I and numerous other individuals have predicted. At least one of the vulnerabilities exploited by Evasi0n was patched by Apple in the release of 7.1 Beta 4, the kernel exploit. And while it pains me to say this, the inevitable fact is that Apple will render the Evasi0n Untethered iOS 7 jailbreak useless, with their next public update of course being 7.1. Genius hacker muscle nerd of the Evaders, however, reminds new jailbreakers that primary dev teams never comment on whether or not exploits are closed in betas, as it doesn't do anything but help confirm Apple's patchwork. With that said, it wouldn't be nearly as hard for Apple's infinite staff of programmers to reverse engineer Evasi0n and patch the exact vulnerabilities the utility targets and exploits as it was for the evaders to create Evasi0n in the first place. Furthermore, at the rate the evaders are working, and due to the intricacy involved in developing a utility for dozens of varying device models, it's entirely possible that the next untethered jailbreak won't see the light of day until after Apple releases both iOS 8 and their next round of iDevices. So while this almost goes without saying, for those of you who wish to retain your jailbreak, you should avoid the future public release of 7.1. And the best thing you can do to avoid it is to pay attention. While it may seem obvious, so many individuals blindly click the update button inside of iTunes without being fully cognizant of their decision to forfeit their jailbreak. So when the time comes, and trust me, it definitely will sooner rather than later, that Apple releases 7.1 to the public, avoid it at all costs to maintain your jailbreak. And speaking of maintaining things, while jailbreaking admittedly empowers iDevice owners to customize their iPhone, iPod Touch, or iPad models to the nth degree, various post-jailbreak tweaks are easily capable of sucking power and in turn result in a shorter battery life. So recently I tackled a popular and commonly asked question in one of my videos, and that's how can I increase my battery life on my jailbroken device? So there are a ton of different optimizations that I go over in said video, and there's also a corresponding post over on Jailbreak Jailbreak iOS 7 Evasion. I highly recommend checking both out, especially the video though if you're looking for a visual representation and you want a complete guide on the topic. Next, I just wanted to briefly mention something before we conclude that I'm sure a lot of you who follow me on Instagram will already be aware of. So I did recently pick up a Pebble smartwatch. I'm actually wearing it right now. I have the old edition right now. I also ordered the Pebble Steel smartwatch, which I detailed in a previous episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors when I went over the best tech of CES 2014. So I'm really excited to get that. At first, I wasn't totally on board with the whole smartwatch concept, but since I've been using it for the past day, I've really come to like Pebble, and I think it has some awesome potential, and I'm also very excited to see what Apple does in the wearable industry if they decide to even enter it and do anything in the first place. But of course, like I said before, I definitely think it has a lot of potential, and it almost seems easier just to check notifications on your wrist rather than having to pull out your phone every time. Because of course, as I'm sure a lot of you already know this, some notifications are more important than others. So it definitely helps when you can kind of screen them in advance prior to checking your phone. And I actually plan on making numerous videos on Pebble, both on the existing smartwatch they have and the new Pebble Steel. So just be sure to stay tuned for those. Also, in last week's episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors, I mentioned that I might be temporarily taking a break from the series while I've considered things, and I just haven't really come to a decision at this point. So if I don't release the next episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors next week, just know that I am temporarily taking a break. Of course, I will keep you guys updated and notified on Twitter and Facebook, so if you aren't following me there, just be sure to do so. I also receive questions on my Tesla Model S review video occasionally. Yes, I am still working on it, and I am planning on releasing it hopefully within this next week. So just be patient when it comes to that. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible and make the most in-depth video available on the car. So I'll keep you guys updated along the way, and like I said, I should hopefully have that out within about a week. Now, as for my $100 Amazon gift card giveaway, that did conclude. I randomly selected a winner. They have been contacted, and if you want a chance to win a new $100 Amazon gift card in today's video, just be sure to rate it up, hit that subscribe button to be notified every time I release new videos, and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section. If you don't know what to leave in the comment section, try answering the question of the day. And for this video, in light of the 30th anniversary of Mac, that's what was your first computer and when did you get it? Just be sure to leave your responses to that question down below in the comment section or on Jailbreak Tech Info. And if you guys want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos and cover jailbreak topics, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me in one of your circles inside of Google+, and follow me on Instagram at ICUID. Links to everything can be found below. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.